Because one thing you have to know about technology investing is that DCFs aren't really your best tool. And the reason for this is there's basically this sense that in technology, the incremental change matters quite a lot. Go watch Meet Kevin, man. He's got a lot of viewers. He's a good entertainer. Entertainment's great. I love entertainment. Ha ha ha. All right, so the thing about technology investing is you have this is the company's historical revenue growth, let's say. And you kind of have to zoom into this box, but in essence, there's different ways things could go. If you get an inflection point that looks like this is kind of faster growth. That's one thing. If you get an inflection point that maybe this looks like this, kind of normalish growth, maybe you get an inflection point that the quarterly results are this. So basically, when the next quarter comes around, and you have to figure out where it's going, you might be surprised sometimes when a tech company reports, just like, say, if you zoom in on this guy, slightly better than expected earnings, and it goes up 25%. Why? Well, if you do the DCF of these lines, right, this company is worth way, way, way more than this company. Oops. And it's worth way, way, way more than this company. So those little tiny changes in inflection really do matter. Whereas in pharma and stuff like that, I mean, they also matter in pharma, but there's a little bit more predictability. The lines in pharma are a little tighter. Those three lines aren't as big and different. So it's very, very hard to sort of tell. Of course, you can predict logarithmic growth on DCF. They can predict any series of cash flow. The problem is you don't know which of those three it's going to be. And these tiny little shifts can make huge differences. You can try probabilities of scenarios, but the problem with that is that you're only as good as your probabilities, and you're just basically averaging to the blue line, which, if it's the green line and the next quarter it's an even better green line, that's how you go from a small cap to a large cap like Nvidia, right? You could never forecast in a DCF what happened to Nvidia, because it really was this constant question of, well, which one of these threes is it? And then the game resets over here for the next quarter. All these lines disappear, right? All these lines are gone. And the new line for your DCF is, is it green like this, like a hockey stick? Is it blue like this, a smaller hockey stick? Or is it red like this? And the possibility of the zone under here, this zone, is sort of now off the table. So the problem with DCFs is that they don't have Bayesian properties. They cannot update for new information very easily. Only at that quarter do you update the new information. That's why you see these big changes in tech stocks. It's much, much less common in biopharma because what the more or less the bounds. The bounds of the possibilities of what's possible with respect to the kind of bookends of maybe the barriers or the asymptotes of what's possible. You could sort of say, well, the biggest asthma drug ever did this much, and it's good that this launch is going well, but I might have to raise my estimates, but at the end of the day, it's not going to leap off the page like what happened with Nvidia. Now again, never say never, but when some number really surprises you in tech, you're really talking about a re-rating, whereas when some number surprises you in biopharma, it typically is less exciting of a re-rate and more of a bit of an adjustment that you have to make that improves the value of the company, no doubt, but it doesn't doesn't really make you rethink the company completely. And that sort of can happen very easily in tech. All right. Just give me a second. Yeah, increasing reporting to 6 months is going to fuck up tech investors for sure. I mean, you know, the smallest hints to changes of growth are really what tech investors are looking at. They're looking for these tiny inflection points that could really presage massive changes like what happened with Nvidia. So if the products start, that's why next quarter is going to be really important for AMD. I mean, if they're saying that they do this call apparently with the sell side before the quiet period starts, and they said that the product, this is a MI355, is going exceedingly well. I don't think they'd say that if it wasn't happening, but at the same time, I'll do some channel checks with my AI guys, but I don't get the vibe that anybody wants AMD chips. It's starting to get cold in here. So again, I'll do a DCF, but it's not really going to be a fantastic system here. I'm going to look at some patents for AMD as well. I'm going to look into the roadmap. I think that one philosophical perspective on AMD is Nvidia kind of is going to need a counterweight, and in some ways it's probably going to be Avago more than it's going to be AMD, because Avago is making the accelerator, and the accelerator is a little more check. The accelerator is a little bit more exciting for the AI companies, because the accelerator is really custom built ASIC for, TPUs, for example, for the use case. Making a GPU to compete with Nvidia, I'd almost rather make the accelerator, and that's why Avago's got a big market cap. I don't think AMD is winning any inference race. Hell no. But we can look at let's look at semi-analysis, see what they think. Apparently something coming soon from semi-analysis, some big thing.